Time now for Sewing Perfect with Debbie, exclusively on Hometown TV.
Hi, I'm Debbie Hunter, and welcome to another episode of Sewing Perfect with Debbie. And today we are going to make pillow throws. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. What in the heck is a pillow throw? Well, okay, now you see it. It's really cute. It's a pillow. Okay, I've got a nice little cheetah one here. Okay, it's winter time. It's cold. You're sitting on the couch. You don't want to turn up that heater, because your light bill is going to go sky high if you do. So you just take your pillow and pull out the stuffing and you turn it into a throw. Isn't that exciting? This is what I'm going to teach you how to make tonight. I love these. They are so handy. Like I said, just during the day or during the summer, anything. You just got a really cute pillow that you put on your couch. You can lay your head on it. It's good and fluffy, And then if you get cold in the wintertime or summer night, sometimes you'll get like a chill and you just want something to throw on you really quick. You just throw your little blankie on you. Ain't that cute? Well, this is what I'm going to show you how to make tonight. Okay, we'll just set all this over. Now, what you want to do is you want to start with 2 yards of whatever you're going to use for your backing fabric. Okay, now in this case with this one here, I just used a brown, plain, solid, doesn't have to be anything fancy. Something fuzzy if you want to make it fuzzy, or you can just make it out of regular cotton fabric. I know some people that have these that they make them for their kids, and they just make it out of that, that $2.98 a yard fabric, that little cotton fabric that you can get out at Walmart or any place. And so you need 2 yards for the backing, which would be solid color or basically anything you want. And then you want 2.5 yards for the front. The reason you want a little bit more for the front is because that is what your pocket is made out of. See, because when you've got it open here, you don't see the pocket anywhere. Right here's the pocket. See? That's why you want to make your front 2.5 yards, because that extra half yard is what you're going to make the pocket out of. Okay? So, we've got our 2 yards of fabric, 2 yards of your back, 2.5 yards of your front. Okay, and you can make your front anything you want. Tennessee Volunteers. I mean, look at that. What Tennessee fan would not love to have a pillow throw with Tennessee fabric? Tennessee orange for the back. There you go. You got John Deere. I mean, come on. Everybody loves John Deere. And this is all just a nice flannel fabric. It was a little bit more expensive because you got to pay for the name John Deere and you got to pay for the Tennessee name. And if you get Kentucky, you got to pay for the Kentucky name. But you could just do a solid green and yellow or orange and white. Kind of save you a little bit of money there. But if you go with the actual names, then you do have to pay a little bit more. And these were, give or take, about $9 a yard. So, I got 20 bucks in this. You know me, I don't want to put a lot of money in it, but sometimes you just kind of have to. Sometimes you got to splurge. Like I said, if you got a really big Tennessee fan, what the heck? Go ahead and splurge and buy him Tennessee fabric. He will love it, and he won't care how much you spent. Okay, the one I'm going to show you how to do, I've already got it pretty much laid out here. This one is your pink ribbon for cancer. I've been wanting to make one out of this here forever anyways. I've had a lot of people in my family die of cancer, and I know a lot of people who have survived cancer. I, for one, am a cancer survivor of 20 years. So I am going to make the pink and white cancer one for myself. Or I might give it away, I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But, so what I did was, I went to Walmart and I picked up some batting. Okay, now what this here is just the craft size. It's 45 inch by 60 inch, which means it's 45 inches wide. The majority of your fabrics that you'll buy to do this project is 45 inches wide. So this is the exact width. You're not going to have any waste. You're not going to have a big old bunch of stuff left over. You're going to have the exact amount of batting that you need for your fabric. And then at 60 inches this way, this lengthways. Like I said, you're going to need 2 yards of fabric. That's where your 2 yards come into play at, is this lengthways. And then your 2.5 yards of your top fabric, there's your pocket, is right here. That's where you're going to get this extra little bit, is for your pocket. So what we're going to do is, and I've already done this just to kind of save time because this takes a little bit of time to do. And I'll go ahead and just unpin the center of it. Okay, you see here I've got my batting. I went ahead and laid it down. And then I'm going to put my top fabric right on top. You're almost, this is kind of a little bit backwards from making a regular quilt, because a regular quilt you would put your top, then your batting, then your backing. You know, you would sandwich it that way. But the way that we're going to sew this is you want your batting, then your top fabric in the middle, and then your bottom fabric on top. And I'll show you why we're doing that when we go to flip it around. But let me go ahead and get this pinned back. So that's what you're going to do. You're just going to lay down your batting, lay down your top fabric facing up, okay? Lay your back fabric facing down. If you've got a back side, you know, wrong side and a right side to your back fabric, make sure that your front fabric and your back fabric are facing each other. You know, your front to your front. Remember, that's how we sew. We always sew front to front. Okay. And you could have put the batting on over top of this. That doesn't matter. I just find it easier to lay everything if the batting is on the bottom. So that's just how I do it. You could have put it on the top. It didn't really matter, but this is just how I do it. It's just easier for me. Okay, so first thing we're going to do before you even start sewing anything is you got to make your little pocket. Now, your pocket measurements are 1/3 of the width, the total width of your little blanket. So where this is 45 inches wide, 1/3 of this is 15 inches. So there's my 15 inches. And I'll show you how to fold this when we get to the end. You really need it to be 1/3, okay? Because when you're folding in 1/3 and then you're folding in 1/3. Now, the length of your pocket, okay, that's going to be 20 inches. It's pretty much standard. Just keep it at a 20 inch and this way you don't have to worry about it, okay? So you know this size, 1/3 of the 45 is 15 inch. So you're going to cut one piece of your fabric, your top fabric. See, this is that, you know, half of a yard that I had left over. Remember I told you to get 2.5 yards? Okay, this is that half of a yard. And I cut this piece 16 inches because you want to allow for a seam allowance. And this way is 40 inches because when I fold it over, it's going to be 20, okay? And you want the same thing on both sides, okay? You want that top fabric to be on both sides of this pocket, okay? So there's my pocket. I've already got it cut out. I'm going to fold it over like this, line up my edges, just kind of press it down, and then I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'll meet you over there. Now we're over at the machine, and remember we cut our piece 15 inch by 40 inch, and then we folded that over. So we are always sewing front to front. Keep that in mind. And we're just lining it up here. And you don't even have to pin this because all you're going to do is sew straight down this line and straight down this line. That's all you're going to do. Just a one straight stitch. And that's what we're doing here. We're just going to go straight down. See, you don't even need pins or nothing. Back it up. Always set your stitches. Got fuzz on it. And this seam allowance is usually a 1/2 inch, but there's writing on the edge of this, so I'm just going to take a little bit more just to cover that writing up. Okay, now all you do is you're just going to turn it right side out. And this is our pocket. Just push the little corners out really good. Push that little corner out. There we go. That is our pocket for our pillow. Now, we have to place this inside of our sandwich, what we're calling our little quilt sandwich. So, I'll meet you back over there and I'll show you how to put this in. Okay, so we sewed down the sides. Remember, I flipped it right side out and I just went ahead and pressed it, okay? Because you know me, I like things nice and pressed and pretty and flat. So you can see you have the same thing on both sides. See? That's very important with this. You want that, okay? So, now we've got to place this. This is the easiest way to find center of anything, is to just fold it over, okay? Your fabric, when you buy your fabric, this is how come I haven't pressed this. You know me, I usually press. But I wanted to keep that little center mark. We'll press it after we sew it together and I flip it back out. Then we'll press it then. But I wanted to keep this little center mark, and the majority of your fabric when you're buying your regular 45 wide fabric comes with this fold already right down the center, okay? So there's my center, and this is my center of my little pocket. Now, I want my pocket to be outside, and if you were looking at this, all this is, my outside is in here, see? So, I'm going to take my little pocket and I'm going to sandwich it in between. Now what I'm doing, I'll take these pins out so you can see, I am putting this right in between my top and my bottom piece of fabric, okay? So I'm just going to lay it right on there. I'm lining up where my pin was for my center to my seam on my fabric, okay? And I'm going to pin that in place. Remember, I always tell you, pin stuff, don't worry if you've got 5,000 pins in it. If that makes it easier for you to sew it, pin it. Yeah, it keeps things from moving on you. So, now I'm going to go ahead and put my little back piece right on back down. And you see here, I have it sandwiched in between my back piece and my front piece. Now keep in mind, my batting is still over here on the bottom. You know, I haven't done anything with my batting yet. We're just leaving it right there on the bottom. My top piece and my back piece. Putting fronts to front. Always keep that in mind. Now I'm pinning all three pieces together. Okay? Pinning my batting my back piece and my front piece. See here? So all of it's connected. And then here is my my little pocket here. And I need another pin, and they're over yonder. Hold on. I got me a couple more pins. That's exactly what I was needing. So now I've got everything pinned together. Okay, I've got my batting. Then I have my top piece facing up. And then I have my little pocket that we kind of sandwiched in there. And then I have my back piece facing down. Okay, so keep that in mind, front to front. You know, you always put front to front. Now we're going to go over to the sewing machine. I'm going to show you how to sew this. And this is so easy. I'll meet you over there. So now we're over here at the machine. And I've got my batting, I got my top piece, I got my back piece. Now we're going to sew it together. And you're going to sew through all three pieces all at the same time. Now this is why I like having my batting at the bottom. Is because when I'm sewing, I'm not pushing the batting. The batting is underneath everything. All I'm sewing is the nice flat, you know, piece of fabric. I'm not having to worry about it. And if you can see my center seam here again, I'm starting about, looks like about 6 inches away from my center seam. That's what you want to do because you got to leave a spot open to open your quilt back or to open your little blanket back. Okay, it's kind of just like the pillows. Remember, we left that opening to turn it all back around. Same principle. Okay, you got to leave an opening. Now I'm taking a little bit more of a seam allowance here because my batting, even though it was brand new and hadn't been cut off of, it still comes from the factory a little crooked and a little funny sometimes. So I'm actually in so that to make sure that I'm catching that batting. But that doesn't matter. Ain't nobody gonna see that. It's on the inside. And if someone takes it apart to look at it, smack them. Don't let them do you that way. And I'm just sewing a straight seam. That's it. Then the same thing here. I'm just going to go about 1/2 inch away from the edge of my fabric. Lift your foot. Put your foot back down. Then you're just going to sew all the way down this end. I'm going to turn my stitch length up a little bit so it can go a little bit faster. Make sure everything is out. You don't want anything tucked up under there. But remember, I'm pinned all the way around, so I'm not worried about if, you know, if anything is together. I'm pinned. I know it's together. That pin's a little backwards, so. And you can see I'm a little bit in on this. This piece is just a little bit long, but that's all right. You know, like I said, all that is tucked under. You won't see it. Nobody else will see it. It doesn't make any difference. Now remember down here, this is where our little pocket is. So we're going to sew that right on down too. If you notice, some of my pins I pulled out because it looked like it was going to do a little kind of like a little pleat over top. And to avoid that, if you're going across your pins, like I've been doing, is just going over top of the pins, give it a little stretch as you're sewing it. This way it'll keep that good and smooth. And just a little tip on when you're sewing stuff like this that wants to move just a little bit, this way it'll stay in place for you. See? Now we're going back up the other end. Just kind of keep it all moved out of your way. These pins are turned backwards. Okay. And you can see here where I'm a little off. That's how come I keep doing this, to look to make sure where everything is at, because sometimes even though you're buying 45-inch wide fabric, it may end up 45.5, and this is in one of those cases where that end lined up perfectly, this end is just a little bit off, you know, it's just that little bit. So, and you just make that up by sewing. You know, I can see where it's at in between this. I can kind of see the shadow of the other piece. So, but that's why I keep flipping that over. And checking just to kind of make sure where it is. Now I'm back at our starting point. So I know I want to sew to about here, you know, about 6-8 inches from the center again. And that's where I started sewing on this end, because this is our opening right here. We'll leave this part open, and that's how we're going to flip this. So, we're almost done sewing. Get everything all situated. And that's about it. Okay, so we've sewed all the way around it. We've sewed all 3 pieces all at the same time. Okay, now we're going to go through and pull out all of our pins. Alrighty, so we've sewed all the way around it, and I left my little opening here. And what you're going to do now is you're just going to reach in, just like as if you made one great old big pillow. And you're just going to go through all the way at the very end, pull that corner, and pull it out through the hole. See, your batting is being put inside, and you know your batting is at each corner because you sewed it in. You know your batting is all the way at the edge because you sewed it at the edge. So you don't have to worry about any of that. And just kind of take your hand and find your corners and push them out. Now, usually I would tell you, remember on the other throw pillows that we did, to go in and cut that corner, you know, cut an angle out. But the only thing that's in this corner is more batting, and it just makes it fluffier. So you don't even have to do that. Okay. Let's get all of our corners done here. See, now isn't this pretty? This is that pink, the pink ribbon for Cancer. I may take this, you know, I think I'm gonna donate this. I think I'll take it down to Baker Center and donate this down there. And this way they can use it for a raffle, or they can just leave it there and people can use it when they're getting their chemo. I think I like that idea the best. Now I'm just talking to myself, sorry. I do that quite often. But, okay, so here is our quilt, you know, our little throw. Here is our pocket, okay? Now, the only thing that you do with the pocket is you just fold it over to the front, okay? Make sure everything is nice and flat. And you're just going to sew down this edge and this edge. Okay, let me get all my little dust thingies off. And let's go ahead and just run over to the machine and sew that down right quick. It don't take 2 seconds. The only thing that I did was I just come over here to the machine. I went ahead and pinned it. You know, I pressed it out with my hand just to make sure everything is nice and flat. And I went ahead and just pinned it in a couple spots just to keep it from shifting on me. And now we're just going to sew it down. And that's the easiest thing. I'm just going to put it right up under my machine here. Another reason why you have a good needle, because if I didn't have a good needle, I would not be able to sew through all this all at the same time. Okay. And I'm just using a straight stitch, nothing fancy. You could get fancy with this, and you could do, you know, those blanket stitches and all that other kind of stuff, but I'm just sewing it down. That's all I'm going to do here. Holding it good and taut. And I'm just staying right on the edge. You see how close to the edge that I am? That's what you want to do. You want to stay really close to the edge. You want to keep as much of the pillow as you can. And that's what this here is. This is your pillow part. Okay. Now backed up real good. You want to make sure that you do that. And I'm knocking things over here, but that's all right. And now I'm just going to do the other side. And you're just doing the exact same thing. You're just going up the other side. Up there at the edge, and I'm backing it up. You always want to set those stitches, especially up here on this top part, because that's where you're going to be like opening and shutting and stuff like that. So you want to make sure that that edge is really good and tight. Okay, now since we're over here at the machine, I will go ahead and we're going to close up this opening. Remember, we left that opening. So you're going to close it up just like you do a pillow, except I'm going to show you how to do it on the machine. And that is just folding each end You know, we're going to just, let's see. There's our batting. And we are going to wrap this top piece around the batting. Okay, see how pretty that is? Throws a pin in there right quick, just to kind of hold it still for us. And then the bottom piece is just going to fold in itself. So, we're just going to put it together, see? Just like that right there, okay? And just bring it right on up to the machine. Now, if you have, my machine has a unique feature. I can move my needle pretty much any place I want to within this 1/2 inch of sewing room that I have. Now, when I'm closing up these pillows and stuff, you want your needle to be right at the edge, okay? Now, with, like I said, with this machine, this particular machine, I can move my needle, see, from here to there, to there, to there, and to there. You know, which is really a unique feature for this sewing machine. The other machines that I've got that we also work on, the newer ones, I can only move it 2 spots. So I kind of like my machine. Even though it's old, I love it. So I want to sew right next to this edge, as close to the edge as you can. Now, because I can move my needle, I can keep my foot on the majority of the fabric. Now, if I couldn't move my needle, my needle would be right there, and I would have to go like this, and I wouldn't get to keep the majority of my foot on the fabric. But because my needle moves, I'm able to keep the majority of my foot, and that's what you kind of want. So check your machine, check your settings, and just play with your machine to see if it has a needle placement, and if it does, you know, utilize it. Utilize what your machine, you know, gives you. So we're just going to stay right next to the edge. See, I'm right next to the edge, and that's what you want when you're closing these. You want to be right up next to the edge. Now, you could have hand sewed this if you wanted to, but I don't see no reason to. You know, because first time you wash this, all this is going to fuzz. You know, so you won't even see this. You know, like I said, if we were doing the really fancy pillows like we did a couple weeks ago, then yeah, you want to kind of do it by hand. But with this here, like I said, you're going to use it. It's going to be thrown on your bed, thrown on your couch. It's going to be thrown in the washer, thrown in the dryer. You know, these are easy pillows. Make these for babies. You know, this would be a great gift for someone just now having a baby. I mean, this is awesome. So we're just staying right next to the edge, and see how I've got it folded in. It's folded to the inside. And then back up. But see, if you stay right next to that edge, and then once it gets kind of fluffed and used, see, you don't even see it. So, you know, that's just a good, quick, easy way to close these. You know, like I said, once you throw it in the washer and dryer, you won't even see this little bit here at all. Okay, now you got one more step to do to this. Now, we're almost done. We just need one little more thing, and that is tacking all 3 pieces together, just like you would a quilt. But you don't have to do so many pieces, because the way that we sewed this, the edges staying put, the corners are staying put. The only thing that you really got to tack is a few spots running down the center. Now, I thought this would be cute, done with the ties. So we can just go, I'll just kind of eyeball here. We'll go in and out one of these. And these are the easiest thing in the world to do. If you've ever done a tack quilt, this is the exact same thing. The only thing that I'm doing is using yarn. Okay. I'm going through all 3 layers. See here? I just went straight down, scooted over 1/8 of an inch, went straight back up. It's the same way that you would tack a quilt if you were tacking. Okay. I'm just pulling the yarn through until I got about 2 or 3 inches there. And then I'm just going to tie it. Tie a nice little knot in it. That's all you do. Pull it really good and tight. And then just cut it off. My little scissors are under this one. See? That's it. That's how simple that is. And you'll just go through and, you know, put another one there, and then there. You know, because that end down there is already sewed down. Because remember when we sewed the pocket on? We sewed through all the layers. So all you need is just enough to keep the center in. Okay, so that's one way to tack it, or to sew it down. And I'll show you on this one, if you can see it, because this one we did on the sewing machine. Let me find one right there. I don't know if you can really see it because I used the brown thread, and I have like settings on my machine where I can make circles, or I can make letters, I can do all kinds of different things. So if you've got a machine that will like do initials or something, that would be really cool, especially if you were given this as a gift. You know, put like a little monogram or an M, or like my last name is Hunter, so a big old H or something. That'd be kind of cool. But that's just a way to keep it together, you know, as you're flinging it out on yourself, you know, to get yourself all cozy and everything. So you can tack it like that. You can tack it with the yarn like I showed you on this one. I mean, you can hand tack it if you wanted to do that, but there's no need to go doing all that if you don't have to. Okay, so, and that's it. They're done. That's how easy these are to make. Now I'm going to show you though how to fold these, because they are a little tricky how to fold. Okay, and I may just show you on this one because it's a little bit smaller. Let me move this one out of the way. Okay, now remember I said you're going to make your little pocket 1/3 and 1/3. You're going to take, starting on the back side, you're going to fold in 1/3. So your fold should be right at your pocket. You're going to bring this in 1/3, and you can see there it's right at my pocket. Okay. Now this is the kind of tricky part, is you want to fold this pocket inside out, because what you're doing is what you just folded up is going inside that pocket. Okay? This is why you want the same fabric on the front side of the pocket and the back side of the pocket. And you're probably noticing that this is 2 different color pinks. But the reason it is because when I went and bought this, they only had like 1.5 yards of it. So I bought this because I wanted the pocket to be the same. So anyways, but they didn't have any more of the light pink, so I just bought enough of the dark pink to make my pocket. Okay, so there's your pocket. Okay, now you're going to take this in, because you're already folded in 1/3, and you're going to put it in your pocket. Okay, just flatten it all down really good. Okay, now you're still. Now we're going to put this part in the pocket. We're just gonna stuff it on down there. And just flatten it out real good. There's your pillow. That's gonna sit on your couch. Okay, there's your pillow. You're cold. Ooh, it's chilly tonight. I think I need just a little bit of a blanket. Okay. Well, you just grabbed your pillow. You opened it up. And now you're all snuggled with the blanket. And, you know the cool thing about the pocket is it's a foot warmer. You put your feet down in the pocket and the rest of it is up on your lap. So you're all nice and bundled up and your feet are bundled and warm and cozy and I love these. But that is how you make these great little pillow throws. See, this is the exact same thing. Think of dorm rooms. I mean, shoot, all this kind of stuff. Now, like I said, we made that in a little bit smaller. This one's a little bit bigger, and I use this crazy fabric and then just put brown on the back side. But it's the same thing. You can make this. I know I got a lady that works here with me, Barb, and she made one years ago for her daughter that is actually fits on a full-size bed. So keep that in mind. You know, if you make it a full-size bed, remember your pillow is 1/3 of the width and pretty much 20 inch. Now, I would think if you're gonna make it a full size, you probably want this part a little bit bigger. Make it like a 28 inch, the same size as a pillowcase. You know, this way when it's folded up and on the bed, it looks like just a nice, big, pretty pillow sitting there. But there you go. This is another fun project. Any kind of colors you can want. New babies, you know, pink and blue. Just, you know, like I showed you before, the Tennessee colors. Everybody's crazy over Kentucky and Tennessee. You know, there you go. Think of that as a gift for them. Think of it as a gift for a new couple getting married, if you know their colors of their living room or anything. You know, and it's not that expensive. Depending on the fabric that you buy, that will determine how expensive it is. Using, you know, your licensed fabrics like this and this, the John Deere, you're looking at probably about 40 bucks to make one. Like I said, using the licensed fabric, okay? This isn't licensed fabric. This is like $4.98 a yard. So 20 bucks made that. 20 bucks made this. I mean, you can't get as good of a gift to give someone for 20 bucks. Come on. So there you go. And I hope you enjoyed it tonight. And that's how you make little pillow throws so perfect. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Sewing Perfect with Debbie is filmed at Sew Perfect Studios, downtown Middlesboro. Join us each Thursday at 8 p.m. exclusively on Hometown TV 13. Putting the community first is what we do. You're watching Hometown TV.